Hello students, again we are going to continue with the chapter number 4, waveform fundamentals, and in today's session we are going to learn about ASP.NET page lifecycle as well as application lifecycle. So you will be having first question as ASP.NET application cycle lifecycle or ASP.NET page lifecycle. Uh, Basically what is actually use of lifecycle, from lifecycle what information we will get. So ASP.NET lifecycle specifies how ASP.NET processes pages to produce dynamic output. The application and its pages are instantiated and processed. ASP.NET also specify how it compiles the pages dynamically. So all these three information we will get from the ASP.NET lifecycle. So basically ASP.NET lifecycle is divided into two groups. First one is application lifecycle and the second one is page lifecycle. In your exam, the second question, that is page lifecycle, is asked most of the time. But as we are having two sections, that is first one is application lifecycle. So basically ASP.NET application lifecycle is having some stages. First, we can say that first stage, that is user makes a request for accessing application resources, a page. Browser send this request to the web server. Means once we have designed the application, means interface is ready, we have already done with the coding, and now we have just click on the run button, that is green arrow button is there, on that we have pressed. So when we press that particular button for the execution of the website which we have designed, so that is nothing but the user makes a request for accessing application resources. Means in coding, if we have used some images and all, so we are, that images are nothing but resources. Or if we are making use of some namespaces, so namespace is again a kind of resources which we want for a page to execute. So after clicking on that run button, we are just making a request for accessing application resources. Then browser send this request to the web server. Okay, so from the browser this particular request is sent to the web server, because when we click on the run button, the web browser will get open, okay, on which we will be able to see the interfaces and all. So from the web browser we are sending the request to the server. So this is first step. A unified pipeline receives the first request and the following event take place. So if we are executing the particular website for the first time, then in that situation, if we are executing website first time, then there are certain events, or we can say that there are some objects of different classes are created when you are making a first request. So first object which is created, that is object of class application manager. We have to remember all the classes, all the class name whose objects are instantiated during the application lifecycle. So the first object which is created, that is application manager class object. Then we are having one more class, that is hosting environment. Its object is created which actually provide information regarding the resources, that is hosting environment class. And after that, top level items in the applications are compiled. Top level item means if we are using radio button list, so radio button list is one of the example of top level item because it contains sub items. So first top level item, like that we are having tree view, sitemap, if we are using such type of controls in our application, so these are nothing but the top level items, okay, they are compiled. Then next object which is created, that is response object. The application objects such as HTTP context, HTTP request, HTTP response are created and initialized. After that, HTTP application object instance is created and assigned to the request. And the request is processed by HTTP application class. Different events are raised by this class for processing the request. So these are the objects which are created inside application lifecycle. So you just have to remember all the classes. Now the second group, of application or ASP lifecycle, that is ASP.NET page lifecycle, because basically when we execute or when we run the application, in that actually the pages are going to get executed. So for each and every pages we are having certain life cycle. Each and every page, basically this particular life cycle is divided into different phases. Each and every phases, we are having different stages, and for different stages we are having different methods which will be, we can say that, called while the execution. So that we are going to learn in this session. So ASP.NET page lifecycle: when page is requested, it is loaded into the server memory, processed and sent to the browser. Means in previous thing, that is application lifecycle, we have sent the request, okay, for the execution, right? So after that particular request is processed, the reply we will get on the browser itself, okay. So then it is unloaded from the memory. Means when we make a request, the particular information, or we can say that page, is stored inside the server's memory, and as server gives us reply, after giving reply, that particular, we can say that page is unloaded from the memory, so that the same space can be utilized for other pages which are available inside the web application. So at each of these steps, methods and events are available, which could be overridden according to the need of application. Now the meaning of this statement is, as we are having button. So if I want to write code, when we click on the button, right, if I want to perform certain things, so for that I want to write some code. So in that situation, what we are doing, we are simply double clicking on the button, and after that double clicking, button one underscore click event is arised. So like that, we are having so many inbuilt events which are present. Like if we are considering, now we are talking about the page, so we are having page load as a by default event. When we double click on the button, we will get, or when we double click on the page, not on any control, we will get that page underscore load event. So that is default event. And the statement, that is all the events, could be overridden according to need of application. Means if I want certain controls to be enabled, false, then that code we will write inside page underscore load. So means previously the page underscore load event was empty. According to our need for the application, we have written some code. So that is nothing but we are overriding the event according to the need of application. So this is the meaning of the sentence, okay. So in other word, you can write your own code to override the default code. Simple. The page class creates a hierarchical tree of all controls on the page. All the components on the page except the directives are part of this control tree. You can see the control tree by adding trace equal to true to the page directive. So basically, when the page life cycle starts, before starting, or at, we can say that at first, one hierarchical tree is created. Hierarchical tree means it contains all the controls which we have taken as a interface for the page. So for that particular tree structure, that is, for example, we are having text box. So the first element of the tree will be text box. After that, suppose you are having two buttons, so button 1, button 2 will be available on the tree. After that, suppose if you are having radio button list 1, so again we will be having main menu in a tree like radio button list 1, and which contains again sub menus like file. After that, we are having edit view, like that we will be having sub menus. So all the controls which are present, or which we have taken as an interface for the application, for the same, for each and every page, one hierarchical tree is created. And directive means whatever directive, page directive we are having, import directive we are having. So if we are using the directive, so that information we will not be able to get in this hierarchical tree. Directives are excluded, okay. And basically, and if you want to see the actual, in while running only, if you want to see the tree, hierarchical tree for each and every page, then as we all know that page directive is nothing but the first line of our page, which is having so many attributes. So like that we are having one more attribute for page directive, that is trace. So trace equal to, just write down true, so that you will be able to see the hierarchical tree with respect to that particular page. And we will cover page directives and tracing under directives and event handling. Okay, so this is basic information. That is, first application life cycle begins, where we made request, and as a response we will get the response on browser window. Okay, and after that when we click on any button and all, so that is nothing but the page which we are executing. That is, from the page we are sending the request, not from the application. When we start click on the run button, that is application life cycle. And once the output is visible on the browser window, and from that if we are using different controls, means if we are selecting, deselecting, check boxes, radio buttons, if we are clicking on the buttons like that, during that what we are doing, we are making request from the page. So from that point page life cycle begins. Just remember this. So basically page life cycle is having total 5 phases. First phase is initialization, second one is instantiation of the controls on the page, then restoration and maintenance of the state, then we have execution of the event handler codes, and the last one is page rendering. So these are the phases. We are not having explanation about this phase, just remember this five pages. Means initialization means in all the controls will be available to us. Okay, instantiation of the control on the page means now the controls are ready for selection purpose. Restoration and maintenance of the state means it's not the case that once we have selected radio button or once we have checked one checkbox, so we cannot deselect that one. It is possible. So means previously the state of that particular checkbox was checked, and after deselecting the status is unchecked. So like that we have to maintain the status or state of each and every control, so that will be maintained. After that, execution of the event handler code. Execution of the event handler code means when we click on the button, so we have written certain code, right, in a .cs file, so that code will be executed. So that is again part of one phase. And last one is page rendering. Page rendering means after clicking, the code is processed and the expected output is displayed as a on the browser as a reply. So that is nothing but the page rendering. Means if we are sending some information, some event, and we are getting some response. So these are the 5 phases of page life cycle. Then we are having there are so many stages, okay, which are related to ASP.NET page. When we execute a page, there are so many stages through which our entire page will go through. So as we are having, it's not the case that in a website we are having single page, we are having so many pages. So for each and every page which is available in our website, all these events or all these stages are occur. So the first stage of the page is page request. When ASP.NET gets a page request, it decides whether to parse and compile the page, or there would be cache version of the page. Accordingly the response is sent. Means if we are sending if we are running a particular page, or if we are executing a particular page for the first time, then there will not be any information about that page which is available in a cache. But if we are running the page second time, third time, okay, so that particular page is already executed, so its information is already stored inside the application cache. So when we execute, or when we request, when we send a page request, these two things are checked by the, we can say that, browser or server, whether this is first time execution or we have already executed. If it is executed, then the information from the application cache is fetched, and accordingly the response is sent. Second stage is starting of page lifecycle. At this stage, a request and response objects are set. Okay, in last lecture we have seen page class. So with the page class there were so many properties. Request and response is again one of the property, that is, it's not the only request. It is actually HTTP request and HTTP response. These two objects are set when the page lifecycle starts, because of which actually the request sending and the we will get the reply, because all this information is stored inside this object related to request and response. So if request is an old request or post back, the is post back property of the page is set to true, and the UI culture property of the page is also set. So means if we are executing the page not for the first time, it is maybe, it can be maybe second time, third time. So in that situation, the post back property is set to true in case of page life cycle. And also there is one more property, UI culture property, which is again set to true. After that, third stage is page initialization. Page initialization means control on the page are assigned unique ID. By setting the unique ID property and themes are applied. For a new request, postback data is loaded and the control property are restored to the view state value. So in page initialization, so many things occur. First thing is unique ID is assigned, okay, for each and every control which are present on the page. And for to do so, we have to set one property, that is unique ID property. So here it is very important for you to remember property, because there are so many properties which we are going to use, that you should remember. In case of starting of page life cycle, we have set two properties, is postback and UI culture. In case of page initialization, we have set one property, that is unique ID property, okay. And also themes are applied, means if we are having themes in our application, then that will be applied. Basically why we are making use of theme, just to have interactive look and feel. So for that we are applying the theme, so that will be applied. And as well as if we are sending or if we are executing the page for the first time, then in that situation post back data is loaded and control properties are restored to the view state values. Means if we are selecting anything, so all the information regarding each and every control is stored inside the view state, okay. Then the next stage is page load. At this stage, control properties are set using the view state and control state value. So page load means in this control properties are set. So just remember this word, control properties. After that we are having validation. Validation means validate method of the validation control is called, and on its successful execution, is valid property of the page is set to true. And if this particular property is true, then and then only we will be able to see the validations, okay. So validation, we are having a range validator, request validator. This topic is there in next chapter. So we are having validation control. So if we are, this particular stage is present only if we are making use of validation control in our page. And if we are having validation control, then is valid property is set to true. Then next stage is post back event handling. If request is post back, means this is not the first time we are executing the page, so that is called as old request or post back request, and the relevant event handler is invoked for the same. Then the next stage is page rendering. At this stage, view state for the page and all controls are saved. Basically view state are nothing but concept which comes under state management, with the help of which we can store the information like user who has login. So most of the time when login to the system, we are getting welcome ABC, like that message we are getting, right? So that name is stored because of view state. So view state stores the information about the session. So in case of page rendering, view state for the page and all controls are saved. The page called the render method for each control, and the output of rendering is written to the output stream class of the response property of the page. As I told you previously, rendering means whatever request we made, we got the reply for the same, okay. So it's not the case that only one label is used as output. The other controls are also considered while giving the output. So basically in case of page rendering, we called or we make use of one method, that is render method. We are going to learn so many events, so in that we are having this method. So render method for each control is called, and the output of the rendering is written to the output stream class, and because of which the response property of the page is set. And last one we are having, that is unload. So the render page is sent to the client, and page properties such as response and request are unloaded and cleanup done. Unload means now, in simple words, when we close the execution, that is when we close the browser window, the execution will get stopped. Or we are having one more option, that is stop. If we are clicking the stop button, means what, we are stopping the execution, and at that time the page will be unloaded from the browser. Okay, so that time this particular we can say that the page is in unload stage when we are closing the page window, or if we are creating the stop button of the application. So these are the stages which are present in ASP.NET page. So remember this, we are having question on write a note on page class, then you will be having question on explain different stages of ASP.NET page life cycle. So I have just shown the, it's not the case that all the stages are used, like validation is one of the stage. So if we are having validation control, then and then it will be called, otherwise it is not called. So the same thing is given in diagrammatically format, that is page life cycle stages. So page request, after that start, page initialization, load, validation, postback event handling, rendering and unload. And with respect to each and every stages, the one line is given. Okay, so this is for your reference, this way you will not get in your textbook. So just take a screenshot or write somewhere in your notes about this diagram. Then we have, as I told you, that when the page executed, page will go through different stages. So each and every stage different events are get called. So now we are going to learn about the same events. So the first event of page lifecycle is pre-init. Pre-init is the first event in page lifecycle. It checks the is postback property and determines the page is postback. Page is postback means it checks or it will find out whether we are executing the page for the first time or it is already executed previously. So that we will find out with the help of pre-init event. And this particular event sets the themes and master pages, creates dynamic control, and gets and set profile property values. This event can be handled by overloading the on pre-init method or recording a page pre-init handler. So if we want to have the information about the themes, master pages, dynamic controls, so in that situation we can make use of on pre-init method of the page. Okay, then we are having init basically initialization. Init event initializes the control property and control tree is built, as we have discussed, that is at the initialization of page lifecycle there is one hierarchical tree is created. So in case of init event initializes the control property, okay, that is hierarchical tree is created in this event. So this event can be handled by overloading the on init method or creating a page init handler. Okay, so this is init event. Then we have init complete. Init complete event allows tracking of view state. All the controls turn on view state tracking. Okay, next event, that is init complete event. Basically init complete event allows tracking of view state. All the controls turn on view state tracking. View state means we are storing the state of each and every controls which are present on the page. Then next is load view state. Load view state event allows loading view state information into the controls. Okay, and actually all these things are depending upon if we have set the post back property to true, then and then only it will be possible. So load view state means in it we have saved the view state for, means we have started storing the information about the state of each and every control, and in load view state that information will be loaded, okay, into the controls. Load post data. During this phase, the content of all the input fields are defined with the form tag or process. Means the input field means if we are having form tag, in form tag we have taken text boxes, radio button, check boxes. These are nothing but the input fields, okay. So data about the input fields which are present inside the form tag will be processed, okay, during load post data event. Then we have preload. Preload occurs before the postback data is loaded in the control. This event can be handled by overloading on preload method or creating a page preload handler. Basically, preloading means in simple words, as we are getting ready for something, okay. So that the same thing, while before execution we are making every controls ready for the execution, so that will occur in preload event, okay. And then we are having load event. In load event, this particular event raise for the page first and then recursively for all the child controls. Means when we start the page execution, the first event we can say that which is called or which is executed, that is load event. We are having page underscore load. So whatever code we have written in page underscore load event, that will get executed first and then other code which whatever we have written. So, or we can say that the control in the control tree are also created in this stage only, okay. This event can be handled by overloading on load method or creating page load handler. There are different handlers, so just remember the name and again the respective method related to each and every event. Then we have load complete. The loading process is completed and control event handlers are run and page validation take place. This event can be handled by overloading the onload complete method or creating page underscore load complete handler. So load complete means now all the controls are loaded onto the page. All the background properties which are related to each and every controls are set, and now the code is actually ready for the execution. In simple words, we can say that. Now the next event is pre-render. The pre-render event occurs just before the output is rendered. Okay, by handling this event, pages and controls can perform any updates before the output is rendered. Means last moment if you want to change your selection of the control, that also you can perform. Means first I have suppose I am having 2 radio buttons and 2 check boxes, so I have selected first radio button, first check boxes. So before clicking on the button event or before producing the button click event, if you want to change the selection which whatever we have did previously, that also we can change in pre-render state, okay. And after that pre-render complete means this event is recursively fired for all the child controls, and this event ensures the completion of the pre-rendering phase. When this particular event occur, it means that the rendering is complete. Then we have save state complete. Save state of the control on the page is saved, that is whatever controls we have selected, so the state for that specific control like checked, unchecked will be saved in save state complete event. Personalization, control state and view state information is sent. Personalization means the information about each and every control, its state and view state. View state means login and session related information will be stored, or the selection criteria means, for example, if we are having list boxes, so if we have selected the particular item from the list, so all this information is stored, okay. HTML markup is generated, and this stage can be handled by overriding the render method or creating a page render handler. So again in this particular event we are having render method, we are making use of render method. And last one is unload. Again, when we close the particular page, it means that the page life cycle has ended. And this particular event, that is unload event, specifies that practically the page life cycle is ended. Okay, because this is the last phase of page life cycle. It raises the unload event for all controlled recursively, and lastly for the page itself. So final cleanup is done. All the resources and references such as database connection are freed. This event can be handled by modifying onload method or create a page unload. Basically, it's not the case that all the events must has to be occurred. It's not the case. Depending upon the controls which we have used, their functionality, the specific events of the page are called. So these are the so many events, and in this theory part, if you want to remember this, you have to remember name of all the events and the methods which are called or initialized for each and every event, that we have to remember. So on this topic we got a question as explain each of the following in brief. Well, waveform. Basically waveforms are nothing but the web pages built on ASP.NET technology, and with the help of waveform we can send a request. User can request using the web browser. Okay, and when we make a request from the page, so page can be written using combination of HTML, client script, server control, server code. All these things are present inside a web page. Okay, then we are having one event, that is post back event. So post back means nothing but process of submitting an ASP.NET page to the server for processing is called as post back. Means we can say that it's a kind of refreshment for the page. Every time when the post back event is called, the page is when it will call when the page is refreshed. So page is refresh means we are sending the fresh request for to the server. So when the page is submitted to the server for processing, that is termed as a post back. And if you want to get the information about the post back property of the page, we have to make use of one property, that is post back property. And this particular property will tell us whether the request is fresh request or the post back request, means the second time we are executing the page. Other than that, we are having some page rendering. So we have already seen the page rendering event, then page load event we have seen, page pre-render event. So the events which we have discussed, now they ask 3 events, but other than that there are so many events. So it's not the case that only 5 events I can remember and I will be having question as explain events of page life cycle, any 5 events. No, so you will be having question in this way also. The question paper will ask the events which he or she want, like that. So this is one type of question is asked on events, page events. So for the same I have given the diagram also, that is initialization, load, view state. These are the events and the explanation related to that events. And as I told you that we are having different events, and there are when that particular events occur in which stage. So for the same you can refer this particular chart, that is we are having a page initialization event. So pre-init, init complete, these 3 events are called in pre-page initialization stage. Then we are having load. So in load there are so many events like preload, load, control events, load complete. So these events are called in such stage, and there are some event handlers with respect to events. So name of that event handlers are also given. So in stage you can be able to see there are total 4 events which they have used, that is page initialization, load, rendering and unload, and the respective events which occur during these stages and their respective handlers. So this chart shows that thing. Then the last question of today's session is what is post back event, and explain with suitable example. All the web application are running on web server. So basically post back event means if for the same, you can take one example. We are having one property for a specific control. Basically, whenever we are having multiple selection, like in case of checkbox list, if I am considering, so less checkbox list contains so many checkboxes. Again, we can have suppose list box control. So list box is having so many items, right? We are having options to select. So in that situation, suppose I have executed the page and I have select, suppose we are having three colors, red, blue and white, and when I select a particular color from the list box, the same color background I want. So for that, for the same, I have written some code. So in that situation, suppose page is run, and if you have selected blue color from the list box, then the background will appear blue. And after that, if we are selecting red color from the list box, then the background should again have red as a background color. So this program I want. So while doing this program, when you will take the list box, we are having one property, that is auto postback property is there, which you will get from the property table. We make that property true. Why we are making that property true? Because if we are not making that property as true, okay, and we have run the program, then once you have selected blue, the background will be blue, and after that, if you have selected red color, the page will not get refreshed, because you have not set the auto postback property to true. So what is basic use of auto postback property? It allows us to refresh a page when you select the particular item, or if you change the selection. So when you select different items from the list box, or when you select different check boxes, and on that selection, if you want to perform certain things, so in that situation we have to keep this auto postback property true, because auto postback property will refresh your page. Okay, if you are setting this auto postback property true, that will refresh your page every time when we change the selection. Okay, so that comes under postback event. So means we have executed the page, and when we change the selection, again we are requesting to load the page. Okay, so that kind of request is nothing but the postback event. This is called as postback event. I hope this is clear to you. So all the web applications are running on the web server. When a user made a request to the web server has to return to the response to the user. Okay, means first I have selected blue color from the list box, and what code we have written, that is once I select the blue color, the background of my page should be blue, should be blue. So once we select the color, the request is sent to the server, and server has to respond for each and every request. So for the first time, definitely server will gives us a reply, that is by making the background color of our browser as blue. But when we again change the selection, that is when we select the red color from the list box, the second time we are making the request from the web browser to the server. So that request should be received by the server, then and then only server will give us the response. So if we are setting the postback property, means we are sending the request again and again by changing the selection, and once the server receive the selection or new value, then and then only server will give us a selective or respective reply. So this particular functioning is occur in postback event. Postback event means we are again doing the selection event only, performing the selection event, but with different values, and for each and every value we have to send to the server, so that server will give us appropriate response. So for that, postback is very important. Postback event should occur while the execution or while the selection process, and if we want to occur this particular type of event, then we have to set one property, that is auto postback property, for each and every control to true. then and then only this particular type of event will occur. And it's not the case that for each and every control we have to set auto postback property. There are some controls like button, we don't need to set the postback property. Whenever we are clicking on the button, every time the new request is sent to the server. But there are certain controls with which this is not possible, like we are having list box, combo box, radio button list, checkbox list. In that case we have to set the auto postback property to true, then and then only after each and every option selection the request will send to the server and the page is again reloaded while the execution. And if you want to check the status, then we are having one property, that is ease postback. If you want to check whether this is first time execution or this is the old request, then we can make use of ease postback property. Okay, not ease postback means this is not the page which is already executed, this is the first time we are doing the execution, so that is ease postback property. So this much is there in today's lecture. I hope this is clear to you. We will meet in next session. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe.